Levels.
Levels. By the way, this has nothing to do with this promo. It just popped into my head. They were playing the FA Cup today, matches in the FA Cup, and Everton and Tottenham were playing. So two large Premier teams playing in another competition, and it was tied 4-4 at the end of regulation. So in knockout tournaments, you then play an additional 30 minutes. And then if it's tied after there, then I think you end up most of them you go to shootout after that. But anyway, you got to play a full 30 minutes. So they go do the end of the game. The players go have their orange slices or whatever they do. And then they come back out for the next 30 minutes.
Because there's 6.
Yeah, right. Hey, guys, oranges, bananas, let's go. We got 30 more minutes to go.
Stop picking dandelions. Kick the ball.
So Everton scores in the first couple of minutes of the extra time, and everybody's right. Like the players are and the bench is jumping up, and the assistant coaches are jumping up, and the manager for Everton has a fresh cup of tea or coffee. I'm going to assume it's hot tea, and he's blowing on it, and he looks up, sees them score, goes, and then keeps. Didn't break his tea routine at all. and the announcer's he's like, I'm sure he's very excited, but you have to understand how important tea is here. That was the winning goal that put them through to the next round. But he didn't celebrate at all because he had a fresh hot cup of tea.
Priorities.
Yeah. You know what? We're going to score more goals. But this cup of tea, I'm not going to get another one of these.
I'm getting old, so I can't remember things specifically anymore, apparently.
You're Dewayne, I'm Todd. That's the way that works. Sorry.
I was on a call where somebody was talking about how they had to go because Tottenham was going to play, and that's their team. And I said, hey, where are they in the tables right now? And he told me, and I said, go Chelsea. Sorry.
Oof. That's a rough one. That's
what was it? Who was I talking to? I don't remember, but I was sharp enough to ask him where they stood in the tables.
Yep. So I'm just I'm just going to give you a little bit. So if you remember who it is and you want to just drop, all you have to do, right? Like the funny thing is, you don't have to know a lot about something. You just have to know enough details to sprinkle in that people are like, holy cow, wow. If you remember who that is, and the next time you're talking with them, and you basically you can ask them, hey, how long do you guys think you can hold on to Son before he moves up to maybe a bigger club in Europe? Now, two things. Number one, that will piss people off because that implies that your club is not a bigger club in Europe. So that's a dig. And number two, it's entirely possible that Son will move on, and he is exceptionally good. He's a South Korean, and he is really good. And that is an underlying worry that fans of that club should have. So it puts the knife in, and you're like, oh, Son leaving, and then you twist the knife by going to a bigger club, and then you're like, but what do I know?
But hey, I'm American. I don't follow these things all that closely.
Do you remember when the NFL they've gotten rid of this? Well, the 2020 had all this stuff. Do you remember for a while the NFL had the rule about the third quarterback that you could dress a third quarterback, and the third quarterback didn't count against the 53-man roster. But the rule is if that the designated third quarterback went into the game, the other two quarterbacks were now baseballed, and you can't come back in.
Right. Yes.
They did that for a couple of years, right?
Yes. Even if he gets hurt, even if quarterback 3 gets hurt, you're stuck. You're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to figure something else out. Yeah.
Lisa was in a meeting, and she may have even been back in Kansas City on one of her work trips back there. And in a meeting, like between meetings or something, some of the guys were talking about about the NFL or whatever, and well, blah blah blah, and after the game or something, and then one of them said something about, well, I don't understand why they didn't bring this guy in, at least give him a shot. And then Lisa turns to them and says, well, because he was designated as the third quarterback, so if they would have brought him in, then they couldn't have brought in the other two people coming back, and at that point, I don't think they wanted to risk it, so he's only there. And they were like, I don't know that rule. And she's like, yeah, it's a rule. You can dress the third quarterback, but once he comes in, the other two can't, and it doesn't count against your 53-man roster.
I'm out.
Yeah, and she's like, they're just looking like, how does she know an NFL? And she goes, from this day on, they now think that I know more about the NFL than they do. She goes, I only knew one rule, but it was a really good rule.
At the right time.
Yeah.
At the perfect time.
Drop it in.
Walk away.
Okay, so do we need to record any promo stuff, or what are we doing here?
I will find stuff that we talked about that doesn't include stories about Lindsay as a young soccer player, cut the rest of it together, and end it with saying, hey, tune in this weekend at some point for our 50th episode. How about that?
So wait, this is a promo for the show and not the show?
Right, yeah.
So we're recording stuff that's going in the promo to talk about a show that we're going to record later.
Yeah, we don't have time to record now.
Oh, okay. So, but we're going to release a promo. I got it. Is this just a way of pointing out that the show isn't going to be up on time on Fridays, plus minus?
You figured that out, did you? Was it that transparent?
Well, I'm just thinking now that if any of our listeners, if they hadn't figured it out by now, I may have just ruined the surprise. Seriously, you've got to put this in the notes so that I don't.
This is rehearsal. We keep talking about how you need to come to rehearsal. This was rehearsal. You actually made it.
Apparently, though, we need rehearsal for the rehearsal.
Okay, let's get this meeting started.
Oh, talking to Todd, Fridays, plus minus, except for this week. We're going to say minus. Or plus. I don't know how the calendar works. So I don't know right now if we just ended the promo or started the show. I'm not totally clear on where we're at.
It's on a loop. You can just play it over and over and over. It starts with the theme. It ends with the theme. Who dog?
Oh, they have a band.
Oh, look, there's a band. Tune in this weekend for a very special 50th edition of Talking to Todd with Dwayne Johnson and Todd Prinz and very special guests, Lisa Prinz and Amy Johnson.